recognized armed struggle. The Palestinians have been negotiating with Israel for tens of years now without any solution. Hamas wanted an armed struggle. Fatah doesn't want armed struggle. America would have never left Vietnam except when they found that the people there are fighting. They were sitting with the Vietnamese and the war was going on all the time. Why doesn't the Palestinian take the same issue, negotiate and fight with armed struggle? There is a leader, as you know yourself, you are Palestinian, Nasser, said one phrase, what's taken by force will never recover except by force. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comment. I do appreciate, what you have said. But saying it is not like living it, sir. Let me assure you. I said it and I say it again. We have to opt for every single recourse that we have in our capacity in trying to achieve our national aspirations. You tell me 25 years of armed struggle and suicide bombings. What did we gain? Did we liberate Palestine? Did we get the international community to be in solidarity with us and to support us in getting our rights? We were dubbed as terrorists. The PLO was on the top of the list of terrorists, not only in the United States of America, in Europe and all over the world. Okay, we have tried that. Hamas was sleeping when Fatah was doing that. Now Hamas wants to try armed struggle, and they've been trying armed struggle. And let me tell you, my friend, and this should not be a surprise for you, there is something called Hudna, armistice between Hamas and Israel, which means that Hamas is not going to resort to arms because they know the end result is the destruction of Gaza another time. In 2002, because we did not sign in Camp David, all right, the Intifada took place and we made a strategic mistake. We're not going to make it again. We militarized the Intifada. You know what happened? Destruction of the entire West Bank, including my house, sir, that was bombarded with a TOW missile from an Apache. Lucky enough, my wife, God rest her soul, and the 3 other kids, we survived. We do not want to give the Israelis the game of David and Goliath because we are no match for Israel's armed machines. We are no match for the weapons that America is producing and giving it to Israel to test it on the Gazan people. We cannot continue to be unrealistic. You are a match to your opponent when you are politically free, when you have your own country. Vietnam, when it fought the Americans by controlling its own lands. It had its army, it had its weapons, it had, all kinds of aids from the Socialist International, let alone the Soviet Union. That's why they resisted and they maintained on their land until, they kicked the Americans. What weapons do we have in the West Bank and in Gaza to resist the Apache and the Cobras and the Merkava? You know what you're telling me? You're telling me Masada. You're telling me suicide. The entire nation will be decimated. And in the eyes of the international community, yes, we are for Israel because Israel is defending itself. We cannot continue to play, that game. We want to show the international community, as we did. You should have told me, and you could have cornered me when you said, why don't you resort to the first Intifada, where in 6 months we shook the international community to be aware of the aggression and the oppression of the Israelis. For 6 months, it was a white Intifada. We did not resort to arms, but we resorted to peaceful resistance. Sir, the international community is not for violence, breeding violence, and for armed struggle. Today, the international community is advocating human rights, advocating equality. But there are governments still who are being voted by certain people to be in government to use such dramatic, policies against subduing people. I'm not against struggle. You struggle when you have the means for that struggle. You struggle when you have the geography to struggle. How could we struggle when 2.2 million Palestinians in the West Bank are living in cages, totally separated from each other, living like Indian reservations with no geographic contiguity? I do appreciate what you have said, but these needs objective conditions that could really work in solidarity with the people of Palestine. But don't tell me with thousands of bullets we are going to liberate of Palestine when we have Apaches and Cobras and Merkavas and the most sophisticated weapons in the world in the hand of the strongest army in the Middle East to fight and tell them that we can really liberate Palestine. The liberation of Palestine is going to come from the exclusion of Israel from the international community, from the pressures that people like you are putting on your respective governments to stop the arms trade, to stop trading with Israel, to hit Israel in its pocket, which is the economy, and that's the only language that Israel understands. It's not the language of force, because this is the game that they want us to play. We played it, we lost it, and we're not going to repeat history, sir. Thank you very much. I have to leave. Right?